last week we were supposed to talk about Charlo versus Tony Harrison, the rematch, part 2. But see, in the first fight, Charlo lost a controversial decision to Tony Harrison, where in that fight I had Jamel winning either 2 rounds or 1 round. So 114, 113, or 116, 114. And that didn't happen. So the twin Charlos, because there is Jamal Charlo and there's Jamel Charlo. Jamal is the one that fights in the higher weight class in the middleweight division. Jamel is the one that fights in the welterweight or super welterweight division. Now, usually they're on the same fight cards, and I guess that can be a bit distracting, you know. So he lost the belt, and he was supposed to fight Tony Harrison again. What happened was Tony Harrison came up with an injury before the fight, and instead of being idle and sitting on the shelf, Jamel decided to fight Jorge Crota, and knock Crota out in the 3rd round. Right? Okay. Now, the twin Charlos, everybody likes to call them because they get confused with the names Jamal and Jamel, weight divisions and stuff like that. And it's very easily to get confused with them because they are identical twins. You know, they some differences here and there. You know, they got tattoos to tell them apart. But what are you gonna do? Tell people, yo, take off your shirt, let me see tattoos. Anyway, them, the Charlos, along with Tank Davis and Earl Spence Jr. is the future of boxing. All right, so you have to understand that these guys are highly avoided and very rarely tested. So it's very hard to get these guys to sharpen their skills. Now, we're here to talk about the Jamal Charlo fight. Jamal Charlo is fighting Adams, and he's fighting in his hometown. And he doesn't have the distraction of having his brother on his undercard or on the main card, all right? Because usually they would have that distraction. That distraction is no longer there. These guys fight separately now because they understand they have to be there for each other in their corner. And I get it. I wouldn't be able to push the raw emotion around if my brother was fighting on an undercard or above me in the main attraction, and I had to suppress that and focus on my fight. I think that was a bad idea, but I understand unity, and they saw that it was a recipe for destruction. Okay? Now, let me preface this in saying that the WBC has done the best hide a champion away from the most destructive force that he can face. Because we all know Jamal Charlo, it was the mandatory for the WBC to fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez next fight had to be against Jamal Charlo. Well, what the WBC did was decided to give the belt to Jamal Charlo. Now he is the WBC middleweight champion. And they made Canelo Alvarez a franchise champion. What the hell is that? That is how to duck a brother in 2 easy steps. First, you give the belt to the guy you're afraid of. Second, so you don't lose any bucks and any face, you make this guy a paper champion. Listen, we all know that Canelo is the cash cow. Right now, people's chasing him, and it's well deserved because the kid doesn't duck anybody. And, well, you know, he's a grown man now. He doesn't duck anybody. He gets out there and he mixes it up. He fights people that people don't want him to fight, or they say that he's supposed to be afraid to fight. And this guy goes out there and gives it 110%. Remember, his first and only loss, in my opinion, was a full-fledged loss to the greatest boxer of our generation, Floyd Joy Mayweather, the money man. All right, so you have to understand this fight with Adams that Charlo is going to do right now, it's formality, basically. You know, he's fighting in his hometown to be distracted. We will not take anything for granted, you know, as far as new media. We are new media, right? So I took that fight for granted with Joshua fighting Ruiz. Called it a hamburger fight, and I didn't want to call it. See, listen, man, this channel isn't for reporting news and all this other stuff, and I don't get into that. I'm gonna give you what I choose to watch and what I choose to report on, and how you're gonna bet your dollars and whatever you're gonna do with it, what boxing knowledge that I can give you. Now, Jamal Charlo reminds me of Terry Norris. If you don't know who Terry Norris is, I want you to go back in your boxing history, look up Terry Norris. If you're young and you just started watching boxing and this is the channel that you fell in on, well, good. I want you to go watch Terry Norris. But he has something that Terry Norris didn't have. He has a chin. Right? And Terry Norris had better boxing ability. What Jamal Charlo and Jamel Charlo needs to do is work on that jab. They have the ferocity, they have the power, they have the determination. What they need to do is work on that jab. And every fight that they have will be super easy. I hope one day he does get a chance to get Canelo in the ring. I hope one day he does get a chance to show you all his wares, but I doubt that'll ever happen, because then you'll see another loss on Canelo's record. I know people say Triple G was supposed to beat Canelo, and I honestly believe that Canelo beat Triple G in both fights that they had, and he beat him in a deciding victory in the second fight. And I don't think a third fight will manifest itself, because I believe that Triple G is ducking people, and no one cares for that when everybody's out here fighting as hard as possible. So I got Jamal Charlo winning in 6. Because I give Adams, you know, a boxer's chance. He's a good boxer. He's a slick boxer. He can step from side to side. He can give you some angles. He can make it a little bit rough in there sometimes when he has to be. But he's in there with a lion. Remember, this is lions only. That's the twin Charlo's motto. Lions only. They hunt in packs. They roll in packs. And they'll tear you up to pieces. This is Combat Talk with the King. And the next fight you get from me is Pacquiao versus Thurman. Boy, you do not want to miss my breakdown and analysis of older Pacquiao versus new Thurman. Catch you next time.